I am reviewing Irish Red Light. That's this week's release at Canal Place. Now, I do want to apologize. There's going to be a lot of thumping going on, possibly. Our neighbor brewery, Missing Falls, is, I believe, starting their expansion, and they're right above our space in the basement. So that is exciting news. I'm not sure when it's going to be completed, but they're doing a big expansion. So Irish Red Light. What is this beer? This is our St. Patty's Week annual release. So we are releasing it at Canal Place about 2 weeks before St. Patty's Day. We've got the parade on the Saturday before St. Patty's Day. We got St. Patty's Day on Thursday, and then a couple of things happening the week after. So we're doing like a full first 3 weeks of March St. Patrick's celebration. And this is a pretty big distribution run for us too. Our distributor buys a lot of it, gets it out to the Ohio shelves and on draft. So this is already out in distribution. You may have seen it. But this review is going to be kind of off the heels of what one of our bartenders asked me yesterday. What is the difference between our Rubber City Red, which has been a staple forever? That's the first homebrew that I perfected. That's the first scale up we did in the Valley, and that's the first scale up we did at Canal Place, Rubber City Red. How does this differ, Irish Red Light, from that beer? It's more an accident and not on purpose, but we figured it out and we rolled with it. So because our Rubber City Red is 4.5%, this is about a 6.5% beer. And when there's always scale up issues when you're going from a smaller place to a bigger place, 3.5 barrels Valley to 20 to 40 barrels Canal Place. There's a lot of different hydrodynamic issues and fermenters when you're going from a little fermenter to a giant fermenter. Lots of different static pressures, and the yeast are under different environments, even though maybe the same yeast and the same malt, the same grains, but it's a different environment for them now. So they behave differently, and we noticed when we started scaling up Rubber City Red here that it was fermenting out a lot drier, which means more alcohol. And we quickly had to figure it out, rename the beer for the release, and get that submitted to the state. And it was a whole 2%. We didn't change the malt bill, we didn't add more sugar or this or that. And that's kind of what the question Paul asked me, what's the difference between Rubber City Red and Irish Red Light? We tried to not have them on the menu at the same time, just to not have that be a source of confusion, but I kind of likened it if you took a third part of our R.Shea Light and 2/3 of Rubber City Red and added 2% more alcohol, that's our Irish Red Light. Now, I haven't done that mixture, so I'm not sure if that would taste exactly how I think it would taste. But his second question was, if you have more alcohol, how can you have less body in the beer? And that is a good question, because intuitively you think more alcohol, more grains, more body, more background flavor, but not necessarily the case. So this is pretty much the Rubber City Red grain bill. It fermented out more. The grain bill on this is Pilsner malts. We've got caramel 80, caramel 120, a little bit of roasted barley for that color, and then carapils for some head retention. So scaling it up, more of those unfermentable sugars like the caramel 80s and 120s, they fermented out. And we could have had a difference in mash temperature too. Because when you're scaling something up, you're not sure exactly how the mash temperature is going to settle at. So at the end of the day, a lot more fermentable sugars, which do not contribute to body. If anything, it's less body because those sugars are going more into alcohol. And you get a stronger, lighter beer. And that's, I believe, exactly what we got for the Irish Red Light. So when coming up for a name, we're like, all right, how are we going to rebrand this? And essentially we're going for a lighter in body version of an Irish Red. So St. Patty's Day, you're doing a lot of drinking, you don't want to get too full. So this kind of serves as a light version. If you took our Irish red light and turned it into a lager, that's kind of what you would get with this. So let's crack one of these open. We named it Irish Red Light, and if you notice the picture, it's actually a red light. And I did a little bit of Google searching to see if there was a difference between American red lights and Irish red lights, but I don't think there's any difference. We just put a shamrock in the middle of the light bulb, but it was more of a play on red lights, and being that this is a Irish red light, that is where the imagery came from. So, super clear, super crispy looking. You do get that aroma of like the Rubber City Red, caramel, a little bit of coppery notes. All day, every day. That's what this is. The colder the better, I would say. You don't need to let this thing warm up to 40 or 50. Leave it as cold as you want on ice. It'll just go down easier. So, a delicious beer that we only brew once a year. So we hope to see you down at Canal Place this weekend and throughout the St. Patrick's Day celebrations.